Sunny skies, shaping up to be another really nice day out there for the most part. Temperature-wise, 59 degrees, a little bit of a wind, southeast at 15, and a little bit of a wind gust out there at times. We're going to get you a forecast coming your way shortly, news and weather for the program today. It is brought to you by Max Auto Body. Scott Sundberg here with you, and, well, let's see if we can get my audio to work here properly, and for some reason... There we go. I get my audio to work eventually. We are bypassing ABC News, and something we posted on our website earlier this week is we got some brand new leadership within the Brown County Democrats here in the city and state, or in the region, I should say, as a whole. And I'm pleased to be joined by the new chair of the Brown County Democrats. And I apologize if I butchered your name. I tried to get it. I think I saw your name phonetically, so please correct me if I'm wrong. But Jory Kunzman is my guest here to my right. And we've had her on before. She used to be a candidate for District 3. Erin Ronayne Rudner. I can't spell names to protect my life these days, but she's also with us today. And welcome both of you on the program. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for inviting us out.
All right. Well, let's get people to know who you are. The chair of the Democrats, Jory. I know I'm going to butcher this name. Jory, and I'm going to try to remember to get that name correct. Jory, let's get people to know who you are first and foremost.
My name is Jory Kunzman. I am a 33-year-old happily married resident here in Aberdeen. So I originally grew up in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, down the southeast corner of the state. Came up here to go to college. Stayed for 6 years, getting my undergrad and my master's. Left to do my first big kid job, and really just wanted to come back to the area. It's a really great area of the state. Been back up here for going on 8 years now, and happy to be back involved in doing some things that I loved and didn't get to do for a while. So really excited for what the future holds.
And you mentioned college here in Aberdeen, correct?
Yes, I was a proud Northern State Wolf.
Okay, I was going to say, was it Northern or PC? Because I was still around back then.
Very Northern.
Okay, gotcha. All righty. And I'm looking at your Facebook, and that's what I try to do with Jory, and I'm trying to pronounce it as often as I can so I don't try to start butchering it. But you have an interesting position. You work with the CC Lee, KO Lee Library. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I, outside of what I do in my personal life, I do have the great privilege of being the Information Services Librarian at the KO Lee Public Library. Nothing that I really ever thought I would do when I was younger. Took the job as a library tech, which is the positions that report to me. Really loved it. I really enjoy positions where I get to work with the public and interact with people. And being in the library has really been a great experience for me, we get to see people from all walks of life and get to help them throughout their day and help them get things that they wouldn't have access to otherwise. So it's a very amazing resource. If you're not coming out to your library, it's a really great place for you to check out. And
let me go to Erin, and again, I know we've had you on before, but let's go ahead and get everybody to reintroduce. You're now the vice chair of the Brown County Democrats. Congratulations on that.
They didn't know any better, so they said okay. Yeah, I'm Erin Rudner, raised here, educated here, then I left and got married and had kids and did all that. And now I'm back. There's this very handsome, smart man involved, and I think I've been back now. I don't know, I've been coming back since my father was sick, so 2010. And I think we've lived here, I don't know, I can't remember, 5 years, 10 years, 5 years, 6 years, something like that.
Okay.
And yep, I ran for House last season of elections, because when I came back, I really thought that there were some things that Aberdeen needed, and they needed a voice. And one of the things that I adore about Jory is people like him. You meet him, and he meets you where you are, and he's a good guy. And so I'm a lifelong Democrat, can't help it. And part of what being a lifelong Democrat is all about is trying to help people figure out how to move themselves forward. And so I'm kind of thrilled to be on this board. Before the show started, we were talking about, hey, we just got installed last Thursday, and it was Thursday night. And then on Monday, we have a meeting at Pizza Ranch with a whole bunch of people who can make it there for a noon meeting. And we talked about
Now, I have a
legislative
slight problem with
processes.
that because obviously I can't make it here because I'm in the studio with
Jory can't make it either because he's got a job. A lot of people with day jobs can't make it, but a lot of people who don't want to leave at night can't make it to the Thursday meeting because that's at 7 p.m.
Right.
And so what we're doing is we're going to make sure that we've got really good communication between the two groups. We're grown-ups. We can do this. We don't fight with each other. We just operate differently. It's all good. And we're all pushing for the same thing.
And again,
So we've got this new board, and we just got installed less than a week ago, and it was really nice of you to invite us together to be here. But we haven't had a chance to talk to our outgoing board members or each other much.
Let's go back to that. And it was Thursday is when the new leadership was basically announced.
That's done on every off election year.
Okay.
This is how we've done it forever. It's how they do it at the state level. It's also how they do it at the national level. You may know that Ken Martin was just installed. It's Ken, right?
I believe so, yeah.
It's not the other guy. It's Ken Martin. And he's the new chair. He was originally from Minnesota.
Okay.
And so he's the national chair as well. So this is just how it works with us.
Okay, gotcha. Oh, so let's talk about that. How did the election go about on, do I call it election or selection? Is that
So it is an
term?
election process. It is based on, we nominate each other for positions that we feel that the other person has the ample ability to fulfill, to have people. So we have communications, we have different other things. So we have chair, vice chair, 2 committee people, and a secretary and a treasurer. Our secretary and treasurer have been
Those stalwart people that we don't want to ever lose them, but we do believe in rotation if they need to go.
long time in that position. They know the ins and outs of what they're doing, and hopefully when someday the day comes, they're able to train somebody else into doing those positions. But to be able to keep that congruity with some of this leadership remaining on, and then Erin and I moving into the positions that we're in now, allows us for a little bit of old, a little bit of new to really continue with the things that we were building on and grow into new things as well.
And I think that's really crucial because part of what we're trying to do as a party, because this party has been, a little. If half the things they said about the Democrats were true, I wouldn't be part of it either. But, and that's, I've been shocked. Anyway, things people say. But one of the things that we need to do and we have a responsibility to do is because 30 years ago, this was such a strong Democrat area, those folks would really like to pass the torch along. And we need to meet this moment and be ready to receive that and then pass it along. We've had 18, 19, 20-year-olds showing up at our meetings, and we want to empower them, not just as voters, but as future leaders.
Okay.
And, that's part of what we're trying to do here.
Now, if I saw the Facebook page, and I also went to the website, so I think I've got all the names on there correctly. The treasurer is Pauline Bruce.
Pauline Bruce is our treasurer.
And the secretary is Vicki Haar, H-A-I-E-R. Is that the way it's pronounced?
I say it higher, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Higher?
It's higher.
Okay. So I had to
Longtime
correct myself.
secretary at Roncalli.
And Gary is Job or Job?
Gary Job.
Okay, that's what I
Longtime
thought that
union
was.
guy.
And the other one, I know you know her rather well.
Yep, she's married to my brother Rob. Her name is Dina Ronayne. She's lovely.
So that is the full complement of the staff with the Brown County
Officially, sure.
Democrats.
The official staff. We have some other people that have some designated positions, but nothing officially in the Constitution.
Okay,
Yes.
fair
And
enough.
we haven't established all our committees and all the committee
Yes.
roles, so you go to Facebook, but we've got somebody who's volunteering.
And again, that's the only
And we're
source that,
delighted.
and I have to be honest, that was the only source that I had as far as getting the names and so forth. And you're right, I could have
No, he's
reached
great.
out. And
It's great.
I also have to give credit where credit's due before I go any further. Matt Scott was the former chair, and he kind of introduced me to both of you in your posts you read. Erin and I have talked previously, obviously in the past, but Jory and first time we had an opportunity to at least text back and forth was the Saturday night when the event on next Saturday is going to be talked about. We're going to preview that coming up in a moment. What is ultimately the goal of the Brown County Democrats going forward now? And when you ran for this, what were some goals? What are some things you're looking at trying to improve with the Democrat Party?
I think communication and visibility from our party in the county to the general public is going to be very crucial, especially moving forward. It's very easy in a non-election year to kind of forget about things, and it has been in the past, is where, you know, meeting attendance will really ramp up when it comes time for elections, whether it be around primaries, whether it be as we get closer to November in an election year. Like, we'll see a lot more people of what can I do, how can I be involved, how can I help. But that can't go away when we get into a non-election year, as we especially see, you know, there are things from people of all walks of life that we've seen, whether it be happening in Washington, whether it be happening in Pierre, that have gotten people riled up in this last few months. So to take that energy and continue to move that forward and continue to show people in our party that they're not isolated. I know it's very easy to feel like a blue dot in a red sea in the state of South Dakota and the Midwest in general, but to be able for us to give people that outlet and show people that there's stuff that we can do to help bring this forward and build this party into a much stronger, and get back to that position that the Dems were 30 years ago, to where we can have...
Well, I think even 20 years ago, I mean, certainly to a certain extent. I mean...
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean...
One of the things I
when I
wrote
was a little
down...
kid, and Tom Daschle was, you know, our favorite Aberdonian
Right.
politician. That's what I was referring to. But absolutely, Tim Johnson. There was a good run.
And he had Stephanie Herseth as well.
Of
and,
course.
You know, so forth. And
We know what
and
happened there.
Well, the biggest issue I think I've seen to notice off the distance is the issue with recruiting and getting candidates on the ballots. And I'm going to ask both of you. Now, Erin, I'll start with you. I mean, how are you going to go about improving recruiting numbers for members to be part of the Brown County Democrats?
I'll tell you what. It's been an interesting run. Instead of trying to bring people to us, because, you know, where do you go? One of the things that I've found to be most interesting is, and I think this is part of our nature as a grassroots organization and as truly a big umbrella, where people are doing things already, it's been fun to meet them and get to be part of what they're doing. And honestly, if they don't want to be Democrats and they just want to keep doing good work, that's fantastic. I have a couple examples of that. This event that's going to happen this weekend. Do you mind if I jump ahead?
Yeah, go ahead. We'll delve into a little bit more of this.
There had been some talk among some people who were at the event in Aberdeen on the 5th, and they really were into it, and they wanted to do it again. But nationwide, that's not the event that was going to happen again. So the event on the 5th was a hands-off. You know, stay away from Social Security, stay away from veterans' benefits, be careful with what you're doing with the education department, more at a federal level. All fine, all good. And those people were very committed to making sure that they got their voices heard. And I had to be away. I don't know if you were part of it. And so they came to us, and they wanted to do something again. And I thought, that's great. And so the national moment next weekend will be more about a call for action. What do we need in this community? A mutual aid concept. Like, what's going on? Well, Jory found out, because Jory's really good at this, he found out that the Salvation Army food reserves were very low. What can we do for people? Let's have a food drive.
Okay.
So Saturday isn't a bunch of ticked off, you know, Democrats standing around screaming things. We're going to do something. We're going to do something that matters.
All right, let me ask you this, and I'm kind of jumping ahead here. I'm going to go with one more topic before we get to the events itself. But we talk about recruiting and candidates. Is this an opportunity to do some recruiting for the Democrat Party here in Brown County with this event, for example, coming up on Saturday?
Everything we do is an opportunity for that.
I think anytime that we have the ability to get in front of people and tell them who we are and why we're doing the things that we're doing, it's a great way for us to, I don't know if we'll meet anybody that will lock down as a candidate in the future, but we'll meet people that are willing to come out to a meeting, come out and to see what we're doing, come to a different event, talk with us, and really just share their story. I think that's one of the strongest ways that we can unite people in this community, is just listening to people's story, listening to what they're going through, and how can we as a organization and us as a party really help these people have a better life, get over the things that are really hurting them. And I would love to tell you that on Saturday I'm going to meet somebody like Erin who's going to say, yeah, put my name on the ballot. I can't guarantee that that's going to happen, but I would love for that to be the case.
Last
I mean,
time,
running for office is tricky because I know this guy Jory, and he's fantastic. But what's he going to do? Quit his job for 2 months out of the year and go to peer? Like, only a certain niche of folks that are citizens here. We don't have a lot of farmers trying to run from Aberdeen, and that's what our legislature was built around, the farm calendar. So there are some difficulties with that. This might be a conversation for another time, but if we can bring people in any capacity, that's fantastic.
let me ask you just a simple yes or no on this. How realistic of a goal is it to get at least, and I'll just use Aberdeen. I know we could use District 1 because we got many candidates that we have Mark Assumption for the Democrat there, but no candidate for 23. I don't know, ours is just a little
We
sliver.
just got gerrymandered.
Yeah.
It was tricky. but
Okay,
yes.
but, well, I'm going to make a comment about that when we go to the break. But how realistic a goal is it to try to at least field the candidates for specifically Aberdeen and District 23 for 26?
For 23 or for District 3?
District 3. Well, I'm just talking specifically Aberdeen.
I think to field multiple candidates in District 3 is very realistic. I think we have people. I know I would love to see Erin run. Is she shaking?
Oh,
her-
I didn't know what you were about to say.
I would love to see Erin run again. I think, she put up one of the closest that we've had to having a Democrat elected in Aberdeen in a while, and I think she made a lot of very strong points on certain issues. When we look at things that I remember from being at the fair when in the tent with hearing about education credits and things like that, and you were one of the few people in the room that spoke out against that, and then to have that be one of the major issues that really riled people up in the spring here, I think that really showed that, we have people that are willing to present the side of the issues that people want. It's getting them to commit to being.
Is motivation, is that the big key? Is that the big issue? I know, Erin, you were motivated to run for that seat back in 24, but is motivation kind of a key factor as far as whether to...
You know what? I can't talk. I can't speak to that for anybody else.
Okay.
I will tell you that my number one issue is water. I really think it's important that the BDM Web City of Aberdeen project continues to move forward, and it has to be done at a legislative level. Mm-hmm. And it sounds super nerdy and strange, but for whatever reason, I don't think that the people that are representing us here, and I don't mean to be pitchy, but people that are supporting us here, they didn't seem to find that as interesting or as compelling. Now, I think I've got the heft to actually push that forward. It's going to be a 10-year project. There are some other really competent people here in town. I haven't given a great deal of thought to how that's going to go. As we mentioned, I've been in this position for 4 days?
Since Thursday, I guess.
Since
Basically,
Thursday.
it should be about 6
and
days
really
now.
Monday was when
Yeah.
So you're going to have to give us a little time on that.
Okay.
We've had a great deal of incumbency here. The folks that have been representing Aberdeen have been there a long, long, long time. They've been switching houses. So, it's interesting. We'll see what happens.
All right, so we're going to take our first break, come back. We got another topic of note here, and then we're going to talk about the two upcoming events involving the Democrats, Jory Kunzman and Erin Ronayne Rudner. Try to recap that when we do the nightly report here at 5 p.m. Well, joining me again in studio is the chair of the Brown County Democratic Party, Jory Kunzman, and the vice chair of the Brown County Democrats, Erin Ronayne Rudner, here in the studio with us today. And, well, we want to talk about one other topic, and then I'm going to get to the couple of events upcoming here. I went through your Facebook page. I was actually going ahead, I might as well scroll down and saw this, and saw something rather interesting involving the Facebook page. And this was before you two were elected, so I'm going to set the record straight on that. But as you're aware, we are having some city council races on there, and I did see that Nicole Shutter was posted underneath the Brown County Democrats going forward there. And I put a question mark whether or not that was a Facebook endorsement by Democrats for her or not. And Erin, I'm going to let you address it because you wanted to touch down that a little bit.
I don't even know what Nicole's political party affiliation is. I don't believe she's a Democrat. And I don't think that it was an endorsement. I think at that point there was only one person in the race, so it was a notice. I don't really know what's going on all the time on all those Facebook things, and I'm just going to let Nicole speak for herself.
Okay.
I think she's pretty clearly an independent. I think her opponent was endorsed by somebody from District 23. It's a city council race. There is no affiliation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way it is, and that's the way it should be. And I don't know anything else. I
Okay.
think the world of Nicole. I think she's incredibly talented. She was everybody's favorite teacher before she was everybody's favorite principal. I know her through our kids, and through her husband, who's a really talented band director at Central.
Now, I will say this. I did spend a little bit of time out at the Lincoln dinner on Thursday. So the social part didn't actually attend the entire thing. I was going to cover something
great.
else that was to take place. But the candidate that's running for that Southwest seat was out there. Talmadge Uconga was there. And he was basically endorsed by Brown County.
Sure.
He was endorsed by Brown County Republicans.
Sure.
And you sort of answered this for me, but we saw a bill this year, HB 1180, and that dealt with putting political affiliations on the school board, which would be a natural step. Had that passed, it didn't. But if that passed, the next logical step would be city council. Do you think party affiliation should be required as far as city council seats are concerned? And I'll ask the chair that question specifically.
Personally, I do not believe that is necessary. I think when you're looking at city council, you're looking at people in your community. You're looking at people that not only are part of Aberdeen, they're people that live blocks away from you. We're not voting for those people based on their political leanings, right or left. We're voting on those people based on what they see as an issue in our community. I mean, when you look at state legislature, you're looking at people who represent multiple communities, vast swaths of land in certain legislative districts. What is a quarter of town? A couple miles? Mm-hmm. These are people that you run into at the grocery store. These are people that you see at your local church. These are people that, if they're facing the same issues that we're facing, whether it be where you want to see the city in 5 years, 10 years, next year, you can go talk to those people. Those people are going to be seeing the same issues that you're seeing. They live not only in your city, but in your part of the city. I know I live very close to someone who's run for the Northeast District previously. I live just down the street from him, so I can go, if I have a question about where the city's headed or things that I would like to see the city do differently, I can go talk to him.
Why is the state legislature getting involved in local politics? They have better things to do, don't they?
Absolutely.
Well, like I said, that's now we're dealing with the issue of local control at this point.
Our school board is terrific. I'm quite sure that most of the people that I adore on the school board are not fellow Democrats. I don't care. They're fabulous school board members. They have been. They do good things for kids. That's the goal. Let's not get mixed up with all this stuff.
Okay.
This can't they hate weirdness.
Especially when we look at the school board, I'd rather put somebody on the school board that has the credentials to understand how schools operate and what is best for our kids. Because that doesn't come down to political affiliation. That comes down to having the knowledge base and the experience to understand the real world applications of the decisions that are made in those meetings.
And I will note for the record, I spoke to Rich about this because we mentioned because they have that endorsement of Mr. Conger, and Rich Hilgeman is the Brown County Republican chair, and they're generally in favor of exactly doing things like that. But with the school board itself, and I will note you two Republicans in Aberdeen, they both did vote in favor of that, Shea Bauer and Representative Nordstrup. And the only Republican technically representing Aberdeen, if you want to call it that, is Scott Moore, who actually was opposed to that. But every other Republican representing Brown County had voted in favor of that bill. And again, that was a school board, which could be a natural progression to eventually maybe a city council going forward, maybe a dress coming up again next year. Alrighty, let's go ahead and talk about the reason I have these two out here is not to talk about my personal stuff, and all the Democrat stuff that's going on there, and of course all the elections that are happening out there. But we do have a couple of events that is upcoming involving the Brown County Democrats and maybe South Dakota Democrats in general. Let's kick this off by what's coming up on Saturday. As Erin Ronayne Rudner mentioned, it is a call to action taking place coming up on Saturday. So let's get a preview of that, and I'll start.
Are we sponsoring this as a party? I don't believe we are.
I don't know that we're sponsoring it as a party per se. I know that we will have members out there. We'll be discussing with the people there, but it is a peaceful, nonviolent movement that is happening all over the country. It's 50-51, which is 50 states, 50...
One event
in 50 states,
in capital cities. So Pierre is actually the one that's doing it, and the people in there were people in Aberdeen who said we'd like to take part in this too.
Okay.
So we said, great, let's do it.
But yeah, like Erin said, this event is supposed to be a call to action to help those in our community that are needing help based on the things that are happening nationally and in certain states at their state levels. So for us, it was looking at those that need help with food insecurity, and being that Feeding South Dakota's location for drop-off here in the city is Salvation Army, and a lot of the great things that they do within our community, we really wanted to help do what we could to fill their food pantry and make sure that they have the things that they need to help more vulnerable populations within our community.
And people who want to plug into that have done this, and they wanted some structural support, so we're there to help them.
I know Sioux Falls, I guess they're kind of keeping it under wraps as far as who's all scheduled to speak there. I don't know if that's the case with Watertown. I think you mentioned Pierre as well. Do we know who's scheduled to speak at this
It's not
coming
an
up?
event like that. That's what we're trying to say. It's not a rally. It's not a rah-hoo-ha. It's not a town hall. Our town hall will be held at the end of the month. This is something that people wanted, organically wanted, so they're going to have it. And if somebody wants to, that's
And
how
you
it's
mentioned
gonna go.
you mentioned some of the topics happening federally. What are going to be some things that you're expecting to have information about? Well, I don't want to say speak about, but have info gathering about it. Is it limited to just nationally, or what's going on
Are
statewide
you
as
talking
well?
about this weekend?
Yes.
I think anything that we would be able to talk to people about right now would be stuff that is happening at the national level, being that our state legislators already closed for this session. There will be definitely the ability to talk to people about what they saw in this session, what they liked, what they didn't like, what they would like to see brought forward in future sessions. But being that we won't have anybody up in Pierre to make laws until January, there's really not a whole lot that we can talk about that's going to be able to change anything at the state level right now. We would definitely love to have a conversation with people about what they're seeing at the national level, how it's impacting them, and what that means for them going forward. As we see changes daily that affect lives all across this state and all across this nation.
And you mentioned this
There's
also.
plenty to discuss, whether or not, we're leading it or
Gotcha. You mentioned about the food drive. It looks like the focus is going to be the Salvation Army with this upcoming food
This
drive.
time.
At this time.
This may not be the last time something like this happens, but we'll see how it goes.
Let me ask you this real quickly: where are if they want to see it in person? And because we all, if you
We'll be
rem-
on the steps, on the sidewalk in front of the courthouse. Funny, the Shrine Circus will be performing at 11, 3, and 7, which is great. So we're meeting in front of the courthouse at 1 o'clock. And we will gather food from anyone. We don't care who you are. If you'd like to give, I don't know if they're called comfort materials or not, but things like little shampoos, toothbrushes, toothpaste, personal care items,
Okay.
food that can be easily eaten, high protein, peanuts, tuna, stuff like that.
Gotcha.
That's what we're trying to do.
Gotcha. And it will run from 1 until 5 p.m. coming up on Saturday.
5.
That's when it's scheduled to, yeah.
Well, come early. Stay
Okay.
late if you want.
I don't want to sound like I'm throwing you guys off.
No,
Please
you're
say
not
no.
throwing us off at all.
Okay. So that is coming up this Saturday, and then go ahead.
So, at the end of the month, it'll be April 28th. It will be a really cool event. So, Nikki Gronley, who was a former USDA...
She worked for the USDA.
appoint-
She was an assistant.
Yeah.
a couple years ago?
She's been going around the state. They just started earlier this week out in Rapid, doing town halls to gauge where the voters are at. I know there's been some discussion about the lack of town halls going on across the nation. I know Senator Thune was in town yesterday for a private event, and kind of disappointed that it was a very hush-hush secret. But to gauge where the voters are at, see what issues that they're facing, and then take that back to the legislative people for our state and for future candidates so that we can have a better understanding of the issues that they're running on. So Nikki will be there. Julian Baudouin will be there. He is running against Senator Rounds for his Senate seat.
Can I correct you real quickly? He hasn't officially declared he's going to run for the Senate yet. So I'm just going to
He's beginning to launch. How
He's
about
beginning
that?
to launch. That might be a better term.
I'm excited about him. I think the world of this man.
And you've
I
said
think
you've
he's
had an
a-
opportunity to speak
Yeah.
with both of them, or at least one of
Both
them.
of whom?
Nikki, Julian, right?
I've met he and his wife a couple of times.
Okay.
At the last Democratic thing we had in Owatonna, I think it was last summer, we just ended up at a round table together, and I thought, wow, this guy, he's a former law enforcement officer, or maybe presently, I don't know what he does right this minute.
Yes, so he is
He's got quite a background, but he's articulate and he's smart and he's fun.
What feedback have you?
Sorry, one second, what were we going to say?
So Julian is actually a former 13-year veteran of South Dakota Highway Patrol.
That's right.
He runs a nonprofit in Sioux Falls, and he and his wife own Swamp Daddy's Cajun Kitchen down in downtown Sioux Falls, which the one time I've ever tried to go there, it was a line out the door, and I couldn't get in, so I was kind of upset about that. But maybe if we build this connection with him, I'll be able to sneak in a meal.
Really good, and they're fantastic, and she's a heck of a lot of fun. She's gorgeous and smart. And
Alrighty, so we have those two. We're certain are going to be there pretty much on the 28th. Who else
Nikki
is?
and Julian.
Yes. Who else is scheduled to appear at this time?
Orrin Lesmeister is possibly going to be there, and there will also be a member of the state party team that will be on site at that event.
Cool.
Orrin, I remember I actually had Orrin on a couple of years back when they were doing the Farmers Union event down in Scottsdale. So that would be interesting to see him in person.
Yeah.
So,
We need people who understand ag.
and
In
again,
this state, serving in this state, it's really important. And Orrin knows agriculture.
and this will run from 6:30 until 7:30. Is it an hour-long event, or is that
Stay as late as you want
Stay as
until the
late as-
library closes.
okay? I think the library's
Library closes at 8.
Okay, so that'd be about that's going to be at the K.O. Lee Public Library on Monday, April 28th, and that means Rob's job on the city council is to make sure that is done on time, so I can get there on time for that coming up on Monday. As we wrap things up with both of them, and again, Jory and Kunzman and Erin Ronayne Rudner, I always give the guests the last word. Last word goes to you, and I know if you got something else you want to address, feel free to do so. So I'll start with the vice chair.
Oh, I don't. I'm excited about what's happening at the end of the month. I think it's going to be a really nice way to start a season. We're not in election season yet, but one of the things that I want to make sure that we do well is communicate within our own group and with others. As I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I find it really wild that when things get said about us, that half the time I'm not listening because I don't go to those places on the web or wherever, and they're not true. And so trying to speak to things that aren't facts has been a real issue for a long time. And I think we let some of that go for a while, and we're probably going to regain our own narrative.
Okay.
And to participate in our own democracy is really important, and that's what we want to do. So we want to encourage anybody who wants to get involved, even if you don't want to join our party. If you want to be a voter, if you want to become informed about things, this is where we want to go. And it's multi-generational. It's, we don't have to agree on everything. That's
Okay.
one nice thing about being a Democrat, unlike some. And we encourage anybody who's interested, find out more about us.
And Jory, last word goes to you.
I would is looking to where Dems meetings have been at in previous times I know there have been times in other counties or even here in Brown County where I've gone to a meeting and it was a handful of people that were really looking forward to maybe someday being able to build this up and really make it into something. I think that time is now. I think this organization is in the healthiest position that it has been in a very long time. I think as we look at the amount of people that are coming to meetings, whether it be the traditional meeting, whether it be the last Thursday meeting,
60 people showing up, a kind of boring meeting
that we've started, or whether it be the noon forum, we're seeing people of all walks of life, all generations coming out to these meetings. We, I think, really have the opportunity now to shape not only where we want to be today, where we want to be in 2026 and 2028, but where we want to be generations from now, to make this a long-term sustainable organization, to really do something where we can. I talked to somebody from the state party last night, and I said, my term is 2 years. I've got 9 chances to send somebody to peer. I want one election at minimum. I don't want to send nobody back to peer again. I want, as much as I disagree with some of those people, and as much as I agree with them on some things, is I want some of them to have to stay home not this coming January, but the January after that. I want them to stay back here in our community, and we send somebody up to peer. I think that now is a very crucial time as we look to some of the things that happened in this last session, some of the things that will probably happen in the next session, to be able to send somebody that speaks to issues that we are seeing and views that we have not seen represented in peer. I think we have a great opportunity to do something really big here.
Jory Kunzman, the chair of the Brown County Democrats, Erin Ronayne Rudner, the